What is up, everybody? Welcome into another mock draft episode. Today, I have a 12-team half PPR mock draft for you for the 2021 NFL fantasy football season. It is almost here, so let's just dive right in. I'm going to be going from the 7th spot in this one. As you can see, the roster positions here, we got 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 3 receivers, a tight end, 2 flex spots, keeping the kicker and the defense in there. I know a lot of people still play with them. Hey, do what you want, play how you got to play. There's a lot of stubborn leagues out there. Deal with it. It's whatever. All right, no surprises here. First 6 picks, running backs. That's typically how it's going to be. Running backs are the hot commodity this year. I'm actually going to continue that trend. I'm going to take Zeke Elliott here. Zeke is being treated as if he just turned 36 years old and he's going to be coming out with a walker and one leg. Like, I don't get it. This dude finished his RB10 last year. Offensive line is back to being healthy. Dak is at training camp right now, no restrictions, so he's a full go. Obviously, that passing game with the weapons they have is going to make life easy on Zeke. So I expect a bounce back year from him, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if he finishes as a top 5 fantasy option, even if Tony Pollard is more involved this year. Puts us back on the clock at 2:06. I'm just going to go ahead and lock up my RB2 spot. Give me Clyde Edwards-Helaire in a half PPR. I just did a full profile on him. Check that out after this video is over so you can get where I'm coming from with this one. But I think he is locked into a top 8 in terms of a running back finish for 2021. So to get him in the middle of the second, I cannot pass on him there. So let's lock up those two running back spots, Zeke and Clyde, back to back. And this is typically where you're going to see the wide receivers start to pick up steam. After the first round, all but 2 picks were running backs. Started to even out a little bit, but then after I took Clyde Edwards-Helaire, only 3 more running backs with Gibson, Najee, and Chris Carson coming off the board. So we still have a lot of options here that I really like in the middle of the third. I could go with the safe route here and go Keenan Allen, who's going to be a target hog. But again, planting my flag, Allen Robinson, I think, has a top 5 finish this year. He was wide receiver 10 in half PPR scoring in back-to-back seasons. And I know we say this every year, but every year somehow it's true. No matter who starts, whether it's Andy Dalton for half the year, the whole year, 2 weeks, whatever it is, whether it's Dalton, whether it's the rookie Justin Fields, these quarterbacks will be the best ones that Allen Robinson has played with. And then that wide receiver run just kept going after I took him. I mean, you're looking at 7 of the next 10 picks were wide receiver with 3 running backs sprinkled in again between my picks. So after I took Clyde at 2:06. We only had 6 more running backs go. So we were back up on the clock at 4:06. And we're not going to waste any time here. I absolutely love the Rams pass catchers, whether it's Woods, whether it's Kupp. I do slightly lean Robert Woods. I just feel like he has a little bit of a higher of a ceiling, being used more as a downfield option. But Cooper Kupp, either way, those targets are super concentrated for the Rams. Both those guys are locked into 130, 140 targets, so we know exactly where the ball is going. And especially now with Akers going down with that Achilles tear, I think we see Stafford's pass attempts tick up slightly because you were simply not going to be handing the ball off 20 to 22 times per game with Darrell Henderson the way they were with Cam Akers at the end of last season. So any piece I can get of that Rams wide receiver core, I'm going to do all day long. So sitting here in the 5th, there's just a lot of similar options for me across all of the positional groups. There's a couple of quarterbacks that I still like. This year, I do like getting one of these top 5 guys. Obviously, to this point, there's only been 2 taken, so I'm going to roll the dice and wait until my next pick to see if one of those guys is still sitting there. But I'm going to go for the positional advantage, and I'm going Kyle Pitts. I cannot pass up on him in the middle of the 5th. I think he's going to end up going at the end of the 4th by the time August rolls around. Obviously, with Julio leaving town, that leaves Calvin Ridley, who's a little banged up already, Russell Gage, and then Mike Davis going to get 100 targets? No, they're going to be using Kyle Pitts, the guy they took at the beginning of the first round. I think he is going to get peppered with as many targets as he can handle. And then the fantasy gods smiled down upon me once more. 2 of the 3 quarterbacks that were left went. That leaves 1. I'm not even going to mess around here. There are some guys who I like, but the choice here is clear. Give me Kyler Murray. So just to recap, after the first 6 picks, we got Zeke and Clyde at running back. We have A-Rob and Kupp at wide receiver. Kyle Pitts is going to anchor our tight end position, and then we got Kyler. So the thing I like about taking tight end and quarterback this early this year, one, I think there are definite clear tiers with those 2 position groups. Like I said, those top 5 quarterbacks, I really want to get one of those guys if I can. I'm not going to reach on one, but around this 5th, 6th range where I just took them, that's kind of where I'm eyeing them up this year. Same thing with tight end. I want one of these top 4 guys with Kelsey, Waller, Kittle, and then Pitts. Nice thing about that is we can just completely ignore it the rest of the way. I am not going to take a backup quarterback or a backup tight end with taking one of these guys early. So that's just going to allow us to absolutely just smash running back and wide receiver for the entirety of the draft until we get to the last 2 rounds where we take our kicker and our defense. So let's take a look at the draft board, see who's available here. Damian Harris getting a little bit of hype as being the guy. I wish I could feel comfortable about his passing game involvement. Like, I know he's capable, but I'm not sure how often he's going to be targeted. Melvin Gordon, I can't take there. Ronald Jones just seems a little too early as well. See what wide receivers that we have available to us at this point. Couple interesting names, man. Wide receiver is deep this year. That's something you're going to hear over and over again, but it still rings true. Like, there's a lot of guys who I'd be absolutely okay with having, because there are a bunch of guys who I feel comfortable with taking the wide receiver position. Let's go over here to running back. I'm going to take my guy Michael Carter. So like Trey Sermon, if I felt comfortable and confident that he was going to be the guy, I would take him, because obviously I do prefer that running game, that offensive line to the Jets. But I think that could be a hot hand approach. Like, even if they name Trey Sermon the starter, I don't feel confident that he's going to be the guy the entire year. Like, we've seen Kyle Shanahan take guys who we have not given 2 shits about and made them into guys that we are clamoring for fantasy, like Raheem Mostert, like Jeff Wilson. So while he might not be super sexy, I think he has back end RB2 upside. He's going to be their best pass catcher, and he's their best overall talent. Is he going to get 80% of the touches? No, he's not, but he doesn't need to in order to return that value in the middle of the 7th there as your RB3 and it like kind of like a flex spot. And like I said, that running back position dries up pretty quickly. So give me a guy who has some upside, a little bit of upside there with Michael Carter. I already have the 2 guys that I feel super safe with A-Rob and Kupp. So I'm going to go a little more upside here. I do like Jarvis Landry, but I feel like he falls in that same bucket as, just kind of safe guys. Give me Laviska Shenault. I feel like he could be their best playmaker. He's gotten some of the buzz early on throughout training camp. We are going to continue hitting on the wide receiver here. Like I said, like running back just like really starts to dry up. There are some guys that I like, but no one that I feel absolutely compelled to take at this point. Hopefully one of these guys can fall to me in the 10th, and I would like that better there. But in terms of wide receiver, I honestly don't think I have ever drafted this guy on any of my fantasy teams since he has been in the league. But Mike Williams is starting to grow on me for this year. Obviously, we know that Keenan Allen is locked into his role. Austin Eckler is going to see another, 100-plus targets. And outside of that, I mean, they got rid of Hunter Henry, brought in Jared Cook, but, you're not going to rely on him in the passing game. I think Mike Williams could be a guy who takes another step forward. And if we see Justin Herbert take a step forward, we know the role that Mike Williams can play. He's an explosive downfield threat, but hasn't been able to really put it all together for a full season yet. But I do think this could be the year that we see Mike Williams ball out, kind of like a Devontae Parker type of situation where we just keep waiting. I think this could be the year. Obviously, he's going to be, third at worst in the target pecking order, and he could be second behind Keenan Allen. All right. One of the running backs I was eyeing up did fall. Let's go ahead and just grab Gus Edwards as my RB4. He has standalone value in this offense, and if anything were to happen to J.K. Dobbins, it is wheels up for Gus Edwards, because behind him they have 195-pound, 200-pound Justice Hill. So those are the kind of things I look for in my handcuffs. I want guys who have standalone value, and then if the running back one, the head guy, gets injured, they automatically vault up in volume, and that's what you have with Gus Edwards. 3 straight seasons for the Ravens, he's had over 700 rushing yards. So he's going to get touches. He's going to be involved. We know that this is an elite rushing offense. So Gus Edwards in the 10th, I absolutely love. The other guys I was eyeing up just went off the board with Tony Pollard and Latavius Murray. Those are also running backs I really like in this range of drafts. Let's go ahead and pop back over to the wide receiver position, and we'll just keep slamming that with most of the running backs who I am eyeing up at this point of the draft already gone. And let's keep shooting for upside. I'm not giving up on him. Give me Jalen Reagor. We know he is a super explosive athlete. There is talk now that they're going to be putting him in the slot more often in this offense in 2021. Obviously, Jalen Hurts, potentially quarterback. There's been a lot of chatter with Deshaun Watson coming into Philly as well. But either way, I think this is going to be a much better situation for Jalen Reagor this year. He gets a full offseason instead of the COVID offseason. He's going to be healthy. Not going to have to be the number one. That's going to be Devonta Smith, so that's going to take some attention away from him. So I do like Jalen Reagor as a high upside guy here in the double-digit rounds. Speaking of high upside, I don't care. I'm sure I'm going to get the little reach notification from Fantasy Pros here, but give me there it is too. A 77% chance Elijah Moore would have been available at my next pick. Guess what? Not willing to take that risk. I love Elijah Moore this year. Again, double-digit rounds. He's been someone who's been getting a ton of hype in that Jets offense. That defense, even though they've added some nice pieces to it, still not going to be a great defense. Robert Saleh still has his work cut out for him there, so still going to be playing from behind. Elijah Moore is their most explosive playmaker, hands down, especially with Denzel Mims being in the doghouse. All right, here in the 13th round, let's just take a peek at running back, see if there's anything that stands out. Like I said, we already have our 4 running backs with Zeke and Clyde anchoring that in, Michael Carter, then Gus Edwards as the next up. I do like Kenny Gainwell, but I'm not going to take him at this point, and outside of that, it is ugly. On the other hand, wide receiver, guys that I am more than happy to take here. I'm going to continue the rookie run I have, and I'm going to get a little stack going, and I'm going to take Rondale Moore. Reach, I don't care. There's no such thing as a reach here at this late of the round, Fantasy Pros, so you can pump the brakes on that. With Rondale Moore, again, another explosive playmaker. This is the thing that I don't understand. I'm going to go on a quick tangent here. We all, after Rondale Moore came out, he was 5'7" instead of 5'8" or 5'9", whatever the case was. We're like, well, he's going to have to land in the right landing spot with the right offense. And then he lands with Cliff Kingsbury in the Cardinals offense. And we still don't want this guy. It doesn't make sense to me. So Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore, 2 of my favorite rookies to get in these late rounds, and I will gobble them up every single time. So love that pick. Reach, no reach, don't care. Miss me with that. Let's balance out all this youth that I have just taken here. With Visca, Reagor, Elijah Moore, Rondale Moore over the past couple of rounds. Let's balance this youth out. Let's get a grizzled vet here. I do like Manny Sanders in this Buffalo offense. We saw what John Brown did 2 years ago. If you look at him on a per-game basis last year when he was able to play, he was still performing pretty well. So I think Emmanuel Sanders still has some left in the tank. We saw what Manny was able to do in a situation that was not great with the Saints last year. He had some games where, he was carrying that passing offense. So I think with Diggs being the unquestioned number one, taking a lot of that attention from defenses, Manny could be someone who, you can feel comfortable plugging in, with a bunch of injuries or bye weeks to kind of plug in as a decent half PPR option there, especially in the 14th round. At this point of the draft too, let's keep this in mind. If these guys don't pan out, you cut them. You move on. It's not that big a deal. These aren't going to be the picks that make and break your fantasy season. Take a peek back over at running back. Yeah. There's nothing that is really standing out to me with running back. So let's just keep slamming wide receiver here. I'm going to go down. I'm going to get my guy Amon-Ra St. Brown. I think that there is a very good chance that he is the wide receiver one for the Lions. If you're not looking at him, you're looking at Brashad Perriman, Tyrell Williams. And it's not like Jared Goff is known for just slinging the ball downfield. And that's the role that those other two play. Whereas Amon-Ra St. Brown, outside of TJ Hawkinson, can be that safety blanket in the middle of the field. So sitting here in the 16th round, this is going to be my last pick before we take our defense and kicker. If I'm swinging for upside, I'm going to take Terrace Marshall here. I think he could be the red zone target here for Carolina. I think this offense is going to be one that we obviously want to target. I think Darnold represents an upgrade at quarterback. I know there are bigger Terrace Marshall fans than myself, but who believe that he could lead the Panthers in receiving touchdowns. So if you can get a guy like that in the 16th round, you got to do it. So down to our last two. Who cares? Let's look at kicker. Let's look at defense. Like I said, just wait on these. Let's see what we got here at kicker. You know what? I'm not even going to look at defense. Give me the kicker on the best offense in the league. Give me Butker. And then with our last pick, we will take our defense here, see what we are looking at. As long as you have the time to kind of like take a peek here, look and see who their opponents are for the first couple of weeks and see if there's anything you can exploit there. If you're at Buffalo Wild Wings or something, you're a couple beers deep, it doesn't matter. Just throw one up on the board. But I will look here. I do like Buffalo and the fact that they are returning the majority of their starters. Opening up with Pittsburgh, at least Big Ben's going to be fresh. And then they have Miami and Washington after that. Let's go ahead here and take Denver solely based off of their week one opponent. I know they're going to be on the road. That's, not typically not a defense that you want to target when they're going on the road. But I really like what they have going on with that secondary. Saquon Barkley potentially not being at full health week one, so that's going to help them out. And it is a Vic Fangio-led team as well. So let's go ahead and finish out with the Broncos. That is going to wrap it up for this episode of the Mock Draft Series. Make sure you drop a comment. Let me know if you agree, disagree with some of my picks. If you would have went in a different direction. If you are not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and make sure you are keeping an eye out for all the content that we have coming up.